The forbidden system, the warning. Ignored, the ancient stone tablets stood in the center of the Galactic Confederation's Grand Assembly Hall, their surfaces carved with warnings in every known language across the stars. Among thousands of laws governing trade, warfare, and diplomacy, one rule stood above all others, written in letters that seemed to glow with their own inner light. Never approach the Sol system, never wake what sleeps within. For 3,000 years this commandment had been absolute. Ships that ventured too close to the forbidden system simply vanished, their distress calls cut short by something the galaxy preferred not to understand. The older species spoke of it in whispers, calling Sol the silent grave, where an ancient race had sealed itself away after nearly destroying the universe. Commander Zeth of the Vorthan Empire had always considered such warnings to be nothing more than superstition designed to keep lesser species in line. The Vorthans were proud, their purple-scaled hides bearing the scars of 100 conquered worlds. They had never encountered a force they could not overcome through superior firepower and ruthless determination. Standing on the bridge of his flagship, the Iron Dominance, Zeth studied the holographic display showing the restricted zone around Sol. His yellow eyes gleamed with ambition as he traced the boundaries with one clawed finger. Recent archaeological discoveries on the rim worlds had revealed something extraordinary. Ruins that predated any known civilization, bearing technology so advanced, it defied understanding. "Sir," his science officer, Dr. Kayla, approached with obvious reluctance. Her usually steady voice trembled as she spoke. "The energy signatures from those ruins, they match theoretical models for the Sol inhabitants, the beings the old laws warn us about." Zeth's mandibles clicked in amusement. "You mean the mythical humans? The ghost stories told to frighten children?" He turned to face his crew, all of whom watched him with growing unease. "Think, Kayla. If these humans were truly so powerful, why would they seal themselves away? Why retreat instead of rule?" The question hung in the air like a poisonous cloud. No one dared voice the obvious answer, that perhaps the humans had withdrawn not from weakness but from something far more terrifying: mercy. Dr. Keela's scanner beeped frantically as she reviewed the archaeological data. "Commander, the technology we found isn't just advanced, it's impossible. Matter converters that operate at the quantum level, energy sources that seem to draw power from the fabric of space itself, and weapons." She paused, her voice barely a whisper. "Weapons that could unmake entire star systems." Zeth's ambition burned brighter at these words. Such technology would make the Vorthan Empire unstoppable. They could crush the Galactic Confederation, subjugate every world, and rule the entire galaxy. All he had to do was claim it. "Set course for the Sol system," he commanded, ignoring the shocked gasps from his crew. "We're going to wake these sleeping gods and take their power for ourselves." The journey to Sol took them through increasingly empty space. Star charts showed this region should have been bustling with commerce and colonization, yet they encountered nothing but void. Even cosmic dust seemed scarce here, as if the very matter of space had been carefully arranged to discourage visitors. As they approached the outer edge of the Sol system, their sensors began detecting anomalies. Space itself seemed different here, twisted in ways that made their navigation computers struggle to maintain accuracy. The stars appeared dimmer, their light somehow filtered through invisible barriers. "Commander," the helmsman called out, his voice tight with fear. "We're detecting massive gravitational distortions throughout the system. It's like someone rewrote the laws of physics." Zeth leaned forward in his command chair, excitement coursing through his veins. "Exactly what I hoped to find. Continue forward." They passed Neptune first, the ice giant orbiting normally but surrounded by what appeared to be a network of crystalline structures larger than moons. These formations pulsed with gentle light, clearly artificial, yet seamlessly integrated with the planet's natural systems. Jupiter loomed ahead, its great red spot now a perfect spiral of energy that seemed to be collecting and storing power from the solar wind. Massive space elevators stretched from the gas giant's upper atmosphere to orbital platforms that defied conventional engineering. But it was when they reached Mars that Zeth truly understood the magnitude of what they faced. The red planet had been transformed into something that barely resembled its ancient self. Vast cities covered its surface, their spires reaching into space itself. Terraforming on an impossible scale had given Mars breathable atmosphere and flowing water, while orbital rings around the planet hummed with activities beyond comprehension. "My God," Dr. Keela breathed, staring at her readings. "The energy output from this single planet exceeds our entire home system. What kind of beings could accomplish this?" Before Zeth could respond, their ship's communications array activated on its own. A voice filled the bridge, speaking in perfect Vorthon despite no transmission being detected. "Attention, Vorthon vessel. You have entered restricted space. Turn back immediately or face the consequences of violating the isolation protocol." The voice was calm, almost gentle, but carried undertones that made every crew member's scales itch with primal fear. It spoke with the authority of someone accustomed to absolute obedience. Zeth's pride would not allow retreat now. "This is Commander Zeth of the Vorthon Empire. We claim this system by right of conquest. Surrender your technology, and we may allow your species to serve us." Silence stretched for long moments. Then, impossibly, laughter filled the bridge. Not cruel mockery, but the warm amusement of an adult watching a child's tantrum. "We appreciate your honesty, Commander, but you misunderstand the situation. We are not your enemy. We are your protectors, and you are about to learn why that protection was necessary." The view screen flickered and displayed Earth, a blue-green jewel that seemed to pulse with life. But surrounding the planet were structures that defied description. Space itself seemed folded around massive installations that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. "Behold, the homeworld of humanity," the voice continued. "For 3 millennia, we have slept, dreaming of peace, while the galaxy learned to govern itself. We hoped never to wake again." As they watched, Earth's defensive systems began to activate. What Zeth had mistaken for planetary rings revealed themselves as weapon platforms of unimaginable sophistication. Energy discharges danced between them like aurora, building toward something that would make supernovas seem like candle flames. "But you have forced our hand," the voice said with infinite sadness. "The isolation protocol exists for one purpose: to prevent exactly what you represent. Unbridled ambition without wisdom, power without responsibility, conquest without conscience." Across the Sol system, more voices joined the first, millions of them, all speaking in perfect harmony. The humans were awakening from their long sleep, and reality itself seemed to shiver at their return to consciousness. "We withdrew from the galaxy not because we were weak, but because we were too strong. We nearly destroyed everything in our hunger for expansion, and only by stepping back did we learn to control our nature." Zeth's ship found itself held motionless by forces that registered on no scanner. They were trapped, suspended in space, while beings older than his civilization decided their fate. "You want our technology, Commander Zeth? Very well. Let us show you what we built during our exile from galactic affairs." The demonstration began gently. A small asteroid near Jupiter simply ceased to exist, not destroyed but edited out of reality, as if it had never been there. Then a derelict probe from the outer system was reconstructed atom by atom, made new again through applied will. "We learned to reshape matter at the fundamental level," the collective voice explained. "We discovered how to fold space, to step between dimensions, to communicate across infinite distances instantaneously. We became gardeners of reality itself." Dr. Kayla was openly weeping now, overwhelmed by readings that broke her instruments and theories that shattered her understanding of physics. "How?" she whispered. "How did you achieve such advancement?" "Through necessity, child. When your species' survival depends on transcending physical law, you find ways to do so. When the alternative is extinction, evolution accelerates beyond all normal boundaries." The truth began to dawn on Zeth, filling him with horror. These humans hadn't been hiding in fear. They had been protecting the galaxy from themselves. And now, by violating the ancient prohibition, he had awakened something beyond mortal comprehension. The question now, the voice said, no longer gentle, is what to do with you. The reckoning humanity rises. The awakening spread throughout the Sol system like ripples on an infinite pond. On Earth, massive cities that had slumbered for millennia began to pulse with renewed life. Streets that had been empty for 3,000 years filled with beings who looked human but moved with the fluid grace of those who had transcended physical limitations. Commander Zeth watched from his paralyzed ship as humanity stirred from its self-imposed exile. The beings who appeared on his view screen bore familiar forms. 2 arms, 2 legs, faces that expressed recognizable emotions. Yet something fundamental had changed during their long isolation. "We did not expect to wake so soon," said the woman, who had become their primary spokesman. She appeared to be in her 30s, with dark skin and eyes that held depths like star-filled space. "I am Director Elena Vasquez, current speaker for the Human Collective. We had hoped to sleep another 1,000 years while the galaxy matured." Dr. Kayla stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overcoming her fear. "Why did you withdraw? Your technology could have brought peace to the entire galaxy centuries ago." Elena's expression grew sorrowful, and for a moment the weight of millennia seemed to press down upon her shoulders. "Because we tried that once, child. We tried to impose our vision of peace, and we nearly destroyed everything we sought to protect." The view screen shifted, displaying images that made the Vorthan crew gasp in horror. Entire solar systems reduced to ash, planets cracked open like eggs, stars extinguished by weapons that fed on nuclear fire itself. The devastation stretched across hundreds of light years, a scar on the galaxy that still ached after thousands of years. "We were young then," Elena continued. "Proud, like your commander here. We believed our advanced technology gave us the right to rule, the wisdom to govern. We established the first galactic empire, bringing order to chaos through superior firepower." Zeth found his voice, though it emerged as barely a whisper. "What happened?" "We won," Elena replied simply. "Complete victory across known space. Every species either served us willingly or was forced into compliance. We eliminated war, ended hunger, cured disease. By every measure, we had created paradise." She paused, and when she continued, her voice carried the weight of ancient regret. "But paradise imposed from without becomes a prison. Species lost their will to grow, to strive, to become more than they were. We had saved them from struggle, but struggle is what drives evolution. In our mercy, we had doomed them to stagnation." The images on screen shifted again, showing worlds populated by beings who had once been vibrant civilizations. Under human rule, they had become docile, content, and utterly without ambition or creativity. They were safe, healthy, and completely without purpose. "We realized our error when it was almost too late," Elena said. "A species that cannot struggle cannot truly live. We had created a galaxy of beautiful corpses, preserved in amber of our own making." Dr. Keela's voice shook as she asked, "So you started a war? To give them back their struggle?" Elena nodded gravely. "The hardest decision in human history. We manufactured conflicts, created artificial threats, even turned portions of our own military against the rest. We made ourselves the enemy so that other species would have something to unite against, something to overcome." The revelation hit Zeth like a physical blow. The ancient war stories, the legends of humanity's sudden aggression and eventual defeat, all of it had been theater, carefully orchestrated to free the galaxy from human dominance. "We let ourselves be defeated," Elena continued. "We withdrew to Sol and sealed ourselves away, leaving behind only warnings to ensure our isolation would be respected. We hoped that given time and freedom, the galaxy would learn to govern itself wisely." On the screen, images showed the transformation that had followed humanity's withdrawal. Species that had been stagnant for centuries suddenly burst forth with innovation and exploration. Wars became smaller, more focused. Diplomacy replaced domination. The Galactic Confederation formed naturally, without human guidance or interference. And it worked. Elena smiled, though sadness still shadowed her features. "You built something beautiful out there." The Confederation, the trade leagues, the cultural exchanges. Everything we had tried to impose, you created organically. We were so proud. Seth's mandibles clicked nervously. Then why are you angry with us? We're just one small expedition. Elena's smile faded, replaced by an expression of infinite patience wearing thin. Because you represent everything we feared would eventually emerge. Unbridled ambition without wisdom. The desire to dominate rather than collaborate. You are what we were, Commander, and what we pray the galaxy will not become again. Around them, space began to fill with human vessels. They materialized not through conventional FTL travel, but simply by willing themselves into existence at their desired locations. Each ship was unique, more organic than mechanical, as if grown rather than built. We've been watching, of course, Elena said, not interfering but monitoring. When species approach dangerous lines, development of planet killers, attempts at forced evolution, the enslavement of sapient AI, we nudge events to prevent catastrophe. She gestured, and the view screen showed dozens of historical incidents. Mysterious technical failures that prevented weapons tests, critical component shortages that delayed dangerous projects, diplomatic breakthroughs that seemed almost miraculous in their timing. The galaxy thinks it's been lucky, Elena continued. Wars that end just before they become genocidal, plagues that burn out before they spread, tyrants who suffer convenient accidents before they can consolidate power. But luck had nothing to do with it. Dr. Kayla was taking frantic notes, her scientific mind reeling. You've been secretly governing us all along? Guiding, not governing, Elena corrected gently. Like parents watching children play, ready to intervene only if someone is about to be seriously hurt. We swore we would never again impose our will directly. She looked directly at Zeth, and he felt as though she could see into his soul. Until now. Your actions force us to break our oath of isolation. The weight of responsibility crashed down on Zeth's shoulders. His ambition, his pride, his refusal to heed ancient warnings, all of it had led to this moment. He had awakened beings who preferred to sleep, forced protectors who wished to remain hidden back into the light. What will you do to us? He asked, expecting death or imprisonment. Elena's response surprised him. Nothing. We will not punish you for being what your nature made you, but we cannot allow you to continue on your current path, nor can we return to our isolation now that it has been broken. She stood, and behind her, the image expanded to show not just Sol System but the entire galaxy. Everywhere human ships were appearing, not as conquerors but as guardians taking up long-abandoned posts. The age of humanity's exile is over, Elena announced. We return not as rulers but as shepherds. We will guide species away from the paths that lead to destruction, support those who choose wisdom over power, and stand ready to defend the innocent against those who would harm them. Seth felt a chill as he realized the magnitude of what he had unleashed. You're taking over again. No, Elena said firmly. We're accepting responsibility for what we should never have abandoned. The Galactic Confederation will continue to govern itself, make its own laws, and chart its own course. But we will be there in the background, ensuring that certain lines are never crossed again. She turned back to address his crew directly. You will return to your empire and deliver this message. The age of conquest is ending. Species that choose cooperation over domination will find us willing allies. Those that persist in aggression will find us immovable obstacles. The paralysis holding their ship released, and Zeth felt control return to his vessel. But he made no move to flee, transfixed by the scope of the transformation he had triggered. The choice is yours, Commander, Elena said. Will the Vorthan Empire be among those who embrace the new era of cooperation, or will you force us to treat you as a threat to galactic stability? Looking around at his crew, Zeth saw his own realization reflected in their faces. They had sought to wake sleeping gods and steal their power. Instead, they had awakened guardians who offered something far more valuable than technology, the chance to be part of something greater than themselves. We choose cooperation, Zeth said, his voice barely audible. Elena smiled, and for the first time it reached her eyes. "Then welcome to the new galaxy, Commander. We have much work to do together." As the Iron Dominance prepared to depart Sol system, Zeth took one last look at Earth. The blue-green world that had seemed so peaceful from a distance now revealed its true nature. Not a sleeping giant, but a watchful guardian, patient beyond measure but ready to act when needed. The universe had indeed had one rule. Don't wake the humans. They had broken it, and in doing so had discovered something far more profound than conquest or power. They had found their place in a galaxy where strength served wisdom, where power protected rather than oppressed, and where humanity's greatest gift was not their technology, but their willingness to sacrifice their own desires for the greater good. The age of expansion through conquest was over. The age of growth through cooperation had begun, and somewhere in the Sol system, ancient guardians settled in for another long watch, hoping they would not need to wake again for a very long time.